My name's Rafik Lewison, and this is nothing but that sports talk. Oh yeah, welcome to another episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk, coming to you live right here from Queens. Rafik Lewison alongside Geoff Magliocchetti. How you doing today?
Coming to you live from Lincoln Park, New Jersey. Rafik, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. And speaking of New Jersey, I kind of glimpsed it, because a little peep at you last weekend because you got an opportunity to cover the Throne tournament this past weekend, where Kai Anthony, for the boys' side, Kai Anthony carried Luhi to victory.
Mhm.
Why don't you tell me about the whole experience and atmosphere of that tournament that brought together some of the best in high school basketball?
I mean, it was great to see. It's great to see. It's great to see basketball still being played in the Meadowlands after all, having grown up with the New Jersey Nets. Unfortunately, RIP. But no, it was a great experience to see. I was able to talk to Cayenne and Nathan Ament. So some work's coming over there for my sites over at Nixon SI and Balls Life respectively. So I think there was some great work done over there. Of course, Cayenne and Luhi prevailing. No surprise with the way he was dominating out there. Wasn't able to make it there on Sunday, but 25 points, 9 of 15 from the field, 5 boards in that win. So very well done and great job by the team all ahead over at American Dream. Want to thank Darren over there and Greg Schwartz as well. They all did a fantastic job over there.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. And shout out to Ashanti P for doing a good job with the sideline reporting right down there. I mean, if you don't know who she is, she's a young black lady that was holding the microphone, interviewing the players on the court during the quarterfinals games.
Oh, sideline reporter. Yeah, I saw her. I didn't get a chance to interact with her, but looked like she was doing a great job. So,
Yeah, she's doing a great job. I mean, if you see it from the live stream on the NBA app, instead of
mm.
being down there in American Dreams, you would understand. But I know you just answered my question, but when you walk around that whole American Dreams mall, I mean, like, can you tell me how you manage to get around it when you're going inside covering these games?
I mean, look, it's tempting. I go past one of those. I go past one of those sharper image wannabe stores, and there's a xenomorph made out of gears and stuff. There's just a steampunk alien from the movie Alien in there. So speaking of which, my birthday's coming up, so keep an eye out for that.
Related.
But no, no, I think it's fantastic to see down there. American Dream is trying to get more sporting events down there. Back in June, I believe they hosted the Arena Bowl, or what was known as the Arena Bowl at the time, the Arena Football League Championship of the rebooted AFL. Was a fantastic experience, very cool to see. But yeah, they just built that. They built that court right over the ice rink, and of course, the Metropolitan Riveters women's hockey team plays over there, so they do a good job with that as well. So eager to see what else they could bring to American Dream. I think it's personally, I think it's just begging for one of those early season college basketball tournaments to come over there. Things something like the Maui Invitational, the Coaches versus Cancer Classic. I'm not saying those events would move there, but I think it'd be a nice little addition to see what they could do over there.
Yeah, it'd be nice. And the fact that they managed to put that basketball tournament over there, I mean, it's pretty intense. I mean, you see some of the top players in high school being able to showcase his skills in one of the best way they can. And at least Kai managed to play something since he didn't get selected for the All American. But whatever, Kai Anthony got to play something and win something and carry Luhi since I didn't get a chance to see him play when I went to watch Luhi, watch the boys, the boys from Luhi,
Mhm.
Island Lutheran play at UBS Arena on what was supposed to be Kai Anthony versus LeBron James' son Bryce James back in December, but both of them sat out that game to the injury. So the fact that you got to witness Kai Anthony play live, it's a big deal.
I think it's fantastic. And what do you know? And Anthony bought a basketball championship to the tri-state area, to the New York metropolitan area. So very nice, very nicely done. And I think what impresses me most about Cayenne is that he's got he's got nothing left to prove at this point. We all know where he's headed. He's going to Syracuse, of course, following in the footsteps of his father. But he has nothing to prove, and yet he's still going out there every day and playing to the best of his abilities. It's fantastic to see, and I'm eager to see where this young man does up at the establishment formerly known as the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, can't wait to see what he does for Syracuse. Okay, now we get to another topic, and yeah, it's more recent. Obviously, the Liberty offseason happened. The good side, we got Natasha on the trade. Of course, you got to give up the one draft pick we had in the first round for the upcoming WNBA draft,
That's fine.
and they managed to add Isabella Harrison. And I know we just went over this a couple of weeks ago, but what are your overall thoughts on that?
I think JMA Wireless. No, that's what the carrier dome is called now, by the way. I think that again, we've discussed this a few times. That everything's going to pale in comparison when you compare it to the great Liberty migration of 2023, which of course acquired Brianna Stewart, John Paul Jones, and Courtney Vandersloot in one fell swoop. I think that was all done in a 48-hour span. And I remember when it ended, I was like, wait, the Liberty didn't sign a generational WNBA talent today. But the other thing, the other acquisition in that offseason, of course, was Kayla Thornton. And of course, that entire quartet played major roles in the road to a championship. But what the Liberty have done this time around, look, again, every offseason is going to pale in comparison to 2023. So it's not fair to judge that. But what we saw this offseason was a way to replace what was lost by a committee. Every championship team you often see has some form of turnover, and the 2024 Liberty were no exception. Courtney Vandersloot did what she was asked to do. She accomplished what she was meant to accomplish here, and now she's going to go play out. She's going to go play out what's presumably going to be the rest of her career in Chicago. Kayla Thornton, there was really nothing you could do there. They asked for a lot in the expansion draft. And unfortunately, you couldn't protect everyone. You can only protect 6, I believe. And Kayla Thornton was perhaps probably the first or second woman out in that regard. So unfortunately, losing her to the Valkyries. But what the Liberty did this offseason was they performed a bit what I like to call replacement by committee in a way. And I think that you have to account for the talents of not just Courtney Vandersloot and Kayla Thornton being lost. You now have to account for the loss of Betnijah Laney-Hamilton, who will be out for the next 5 to 6 months.
Yeah, I was going to get ready to ask you about that because, and let me cut you off. I was getting ready to ask you about that, but yeah, Betnijah Laney, she's going to be out to like at least late July and early August. But it was justifiable last year because when Betnijah Laney was nursing the injury, we had the Olympic break going on. So this way she would have more time to recover so Liberty can get back to momentum. But this time around, yeah, that might be a problem.
It's most unfortunate, but the Liberty have again done a replacement by committee of sorts. The playmaking abilities of Betnijah Laney-Hamilton. Me having trouble with names, like I've never dealt with that before. The playmaking abilities of Betnijah Laney-Hamilton are replaced perhaps by the return of Marie Johannes. So that's taken care of. The defensive abilities of Betnijah Laney-Hamilton and Kayla Thornton, for that matter, are replaced by Isabella Harrison and Natasha Cloud. So, and perhaps to a lesser extent, Leonie Phoebish, who really displayed a strong two-way game in her first year on the WNBA circuit. So what the Liberty have, they can at least they know. I think the best part about this, the silver lining from this, is that at least the Liberty know they can plan ahead. You're not going into the season going, oh, Betnijah should return any minute now. She'll come back week to week. Instead, they got it out of the way quickly and they got the surgery over with. It was successful. Now she can get in the rehab. She can press forward. And you have your starting 5 established. There's going to be no arguments over, should be Cloud, should be Phoebus, should be Laney-Hamilton. You have your starting 5, and you are in a position where the first woman off your bench come playoff time could well be Betnijah Laney-Hamilton. Knock on wood, of course. Let's see how her rehab goes. But the Liberty went with a replacement by committee this time around because, it's going to take a village to replace some of these players. You don't replace Courtney Vandersloot in one fell swoop. You have to rely on a Natasha Cloud. You have to rely on a Marie Johannes a little bit. It's not going to take, and Kayla Thornton was not in the starting 5, but what is the catch-22 of super teams? You're only as good as your role players take you. We've seen it at both the men's and women's level. Heck, we're seeing it right now with the University of Connecticut right now in the women's tournament, in the sense that, it's not just Paige Becker. It's also freshmen like Sarah Strong. It's also women off the bench like Ice Brady, like Ashlyn Shade. They are coming out there and they are giving it their all. So and we can't forget too about the potential additions the Liberty have, in the sense that they're not additions. They were on the roster before, but they're going to take on expanded roles this season. Women like Kennedy Burke, who was re-signed over the offseason. Women like Marquisha Davis, who played sparingly in her rookie season after coming over in the first round of the draft at the 11th pick. But that this is an opportunity for her to step up, and New York has liked what it's seen. Jonathan Cole raved to me about the way her transition game is really something to look forward to. And she did well for herself in some limited time last year when she got into bigger portions of the game. So this, again, it's an off season where there were replacements by committee. And, I think it's going to play in the Liberty's favor. There is enough on this group to survive the losses, to move forward, to compete for a second championship. There might be some growing pains in the early going, but it's nothing New York hasn't dealt with before, especially in recent years.
Yeah, exactly. Because in case you forgot, the Liberty. A year ago, the Liberty had their first losing streak in the Betnijah Brandon Stewart, Jungle Jones era, but they ironed out the cakes quickly and had that one seed to win against Connecticut Sun just to get the number one seed, and they never blew it, and they held on to the number one seed all the way up until the championship victory. So it's not like as if the Liberty had recovered from the early struggles before.
No, again, and that's what's going to be good about Unrivals. Players are going to be able to stay in shape. Players are going to be able to get to know each other over there. So I think that was a good step in the right direction too. But yeah, this is nothing new for New York. There will be a bit of a growing process. If it means you have to take it on the chin in the early going, they're well prepared for it. So I think that's the biggest difference between this Liberty team and some of the prior ones. They have taken it on the chin before, and they are able to survive such a situation this time around.
Yes, they are. Sorry for the lights, but
it's fine. It's fine.
Anyways,
good.
This is going to be something. This is something that the Liberty going to have to figure out. But since obviously we got the WNBA draft coming up, and Olivia Miles surprisingly decided to forego the draft and enter the transfer portal. So what you think about that, and what it's going to do for her future?
I forget who said it before. I think it was Evan Massey not Evan Massey. Evan Sitter. Evan Massey's a good guy. I work with them over at SI. Evan Sittery over at Forbes. Haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, but I think he was the one who said that with the NIL deals coming out of the college game at this point, why would any underclassmen in the WNBA draft class, why would they go for an early entry when there's so much more to make in the transfer portal in the NIL deals? So I think that this is a bit of a wake-up call for the WNBA in the sense that how this might come up when they're negotiating the next collective bargaining agreement. So I think that we're at a turning point in this when the prospective number 2 pick turns down, and I believe Los Angeles holds the second pick, don't they?
Well, I know Seattle owns the first pick. It's probably, yeah.
But doesn't Dallas own the first pick?
Yeah, I think that
Well, in any event, this is Los Angeles, Seattle. This is those are prime opportunities to start your career. Those are great places to start your professional career. And the fact that players are opting to stay on the collegiate level and make that money, that's something.
Actually, I don't mean to control, but the Dallas Wings owns the number 1 pick, and the second in Seattle will get number 2, and Washington has 2 picks in a row and 3.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
In any event, matter of fact, the Washington Mystics have three first-round picks.
No, in any event, these are prime situations to start your career. Go to Dallas. That's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be PageMackers. But you look at second you said with Seattle. You go to a place like Seattle, a place that has a culture winning, a place that has a place that worships basketball. People flock to Seattle games, no matter what you could say. People flock to Seattle games. And Chicago, they have, I know the coaching situation. Who knows what's going to happen there? But at the same time, you have a strong core coming in. Vandersloot is going to come back to mentor a very high-profile rookie core in Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese. So I think that, not rookies anymore, but young core, I should say. But these are all ideal situations. And the fact that you're seeing the number 2 prospect stay away from this situation is something that will certainly come up at the next CBA negotiations, I'm sure.
Yeah, and all those facts you just said. This WNBA draft might not be as big as Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese was a year ago. Even
what will be?
I mean, no. I mean, you're gonna have to. Either way, outside of Paige Beckers, you're gonna have to come with something more than that to get the whole media to want to be invested to cover the draft. I mean, the TV. I mean, the TV publications, they're going to cover it because, they need the money. But for the independent, I mean, they need it just to continue the growth of their platform. But with the way that the projected players of the draft is set up, I mean, it might be something to think about in the upcoming WNBA draft.
I mean, I think it's not fair to compare last year's draft to this one in the sense that it's the same principle of looking at Liberty off seasons. Like, of course, everything's going to pale in comparison to what we experienced last year, which was very cool and whatnot. And it was so many players. It was Cardoso, it was Reese, it was Cameron Brink. So many came in and made names for themselves, and Rickea Jackson. So I think that, we will see a bit of a downturn, but at the same time, I think there's enough great momentum to keep this game rolling.
Yeah, definitely a lot of great momentum. And since we talk about the women's game, like when you look at the Final Four for the women's side, I mean, which team do you think is gonna like stand out the most and win the national championship?
I think Connecticut personally. I think that that hasn't changed. Most unfortunate, we were not able to get a classic Beckers versus Watkins showdown yesterday. But at the same time, this is Connecticut's most complete team we've had in a while. This is the most healthy Connecticut team we've seen in a while. And, they've gone through, it's approaching a decade in national title droughts. And I think that they're going to, they're getting impatient over there. They really are. Because again, it's not just the headliners for Connecticut over there. It's not just the Beckers. It's not just the Fuds. It's Sarah Strong, who is one of the most dominant UConn freshmen we've seen in quite a while. And that's saying a lot for that program, obviously. It's Caitlin Chen, who had 15 points and some key rebounds last night. It's players like that. And you even have, veteran leadership off the bench who might not play as much, but still offer you that edge. People like women like Caroline Ducharme over there. So I think that, again, the most complete, the most healthy Connecticut team we've seen in a long time, and I'm very, 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 very uncomfortable betting against that.
Yeah, I can't bet against Connecticut either. You know what? I had a recent Final Four win it all this year. I mean, even when going up against UCLA, a team led by Lauren Betts. I mean, she has a size, and Kiki Rice does show some flashes of star talent, but this gonna take you're gonna need more than that. Even in the first time that the women's UCLA team made to the Final Four, you're going to need more than that to deal with Connecticut.
Of course.
You're definitely going to need more than that. And yeah, of course, there's the other side of the bracket. I mean, you have South Carolina. You have your South Carolina taking on Texas. The battle of SEC team, one that just joined the SEC recently, versus the team that's literally in the mission to win the third national championship in your last four.
Connecticut just means more, doesn't it?
Connecticut already racked up a lot of national championships. They haven't won in a while, but they racked up a lot of national championships during Diane Taurasi Bird days and Brianna Stewart days. These before they eventually lost to the bus to Mississippi State, and they have yet to recover from that. And they only made one national championship game ever since, and they have yet to recover from that. And of course, you got UCLA playing their first Final Four. You got Texas playing their first Final Four in a while. And I know, and it's like a revamped way of asking the question: which is the better story? Connecticut win another national championship, South Carolina win third of the last four, or UCLA and Texas win their first?
Well, you're asking. So basically, what you're asking me is what does the NCAA most want to see? I think the NCAA most wants to see a UConn South Carolina championship game. No questions asked. Let the women settle it from there. That's what the NCAA I think wants to see. But in terms of the best story, look, you have to give UCLA and Texas their props. These are teams we don't see often in the Final Four. Shout out to Vic Schaefer, by the way, became one of the next coaches, joining the illustrious list that includes C. Vivian Stringer, to take multiple teams to the Final Four. So there's a storyline in of itself. I think that, look, again, I think the best story, of course, it's going to be the UConn South Carolina championship game, but these props should be extended to all four sides. All four sides earn their trip to be here. And I think it's a tremendous situation for women's basketball. And it's going to allow them to keep that sort of momentum alive without the Angel Reeses, without the Caitlin Clark. So it's enough to keep the momentum alive. And I think everyone wins in that regard.
Yeah, everyone wins. Seriously. I mean, but unlike the but unlike the men's side, you don't have all 4 number 1 seeds reaching the Final Four. And
well,
in addition, it's only the second time that all 4 number 1 seeds in all 4 regions make it to the Final Four. The first time being 2008, where Kansas show you who the real number 1 team was back in 2008, when you had all 4 number 1 seeds in that tournament making it to the Final Four. But
I mean,
when you look at the men's Final Four this year, Geoff, which in your opinion is the real number 1 seed?
I mean, I'm sticking with my guns from the start, Florida. It's weird. I had a ton of upsets in the opening rounds. But then my Final Four seeds had a combined sum of 6, and unfortunately, I had 2 of the 2 seeds winning on Saturday and Sunday. Like it was about Sunday they lost. I had Auburn losing very early, I had Houston losing very early, and I had Michigan State and I had Tennessee in the Final Four. So much for that. But I think that we will at least see some good games. That's for darn tootin'. And interesting. I'm going to stick with Florida because as long as they have Walter Clayton Jr., shout out former Iona Gale, as long as they have him shooting the ball, anything's possible with this group because he is hitting shots that to steal a line from Bill Raftery, they take onions, they take guts, and he makes it every single time. What really stood out to me was that one shot against Texas Tech. He drove in the lane, had a couple guys collapse upon him, turned around, and sank a 3 directly in front of the same guys. So this is a kid who is smart on all sides of the ball. This is a kid who is fearless. So as long as they have Clayton, I have a very hard time betting against Florida in that regard.
Yeah, of course, they're going to have to deal with a tough rising team at Duke, led by Cooper Flagg. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Because to me, Duke is a real number 1 seed.
Isn't Florida playing Auburn? Isn't Florida playing Auburn?
Well, Florida played Auburn in the first round. Duke's playing Houston again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm asking you about what is the real number 1 seed out of the number 1 seeds we've seen so far.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I'm telling you that it's the Duke Blue Devils.
So you think
better offense to go up? It's a Houston team with the better defense. But I'm sure that Cooper Flagg's not going to slip and fall this time.
Let's hope not. Let's get those guys on the. Let's get those guys on the sideline. Pay them a little lecture. What are we doing here? But I think, look, Cooper Flagg's another one. He's dangerous because he has something to prove at this point. And if we were to get a Florida Duke final, like I had in my bracket, that's what the NCAA wants in the men's realm. I think they want to see. Look, they want to see Duke beat Houston. Auburn, Florida. They could take a lead. Whoever gets that, that's fine. I mean, look, you get that. You get John Ibroom, you get Baker Mazzara in there. That they're fine. Auburn, Florida, that's fine. That should be the SEC game you watch before you go out trick or treating on Halloween. Now it's going to decide if to a championship game. I think that the NCAA. They'll take or leave for him, but they would love to see Duke in this one prevail in that one. I'm not saying there's any bias, but if they had to gun to their heads, they're taking Duke.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, what more can you do? That's just.
I don't know. I don't know how you stop Cooper Flagg. I don't know what you can do. So you're asking the wrong guy.
The slip and fall is just too tempting to say, Geoff. You seen how it happened?
I saw it. I saw it. I mean, like again, let's hope they're paying those guys behind with the big mop. That was always a job I wanted. That and it's always one of the weird jobs I wanted in sports. Wanted to drive to Zamboni Madison Square Garden. I wanted to hold one of those bubble microphones they have in the NFL sidelines. But no, I'm happy with the career path I took. So
yeah,
cheers to that.
All right, now to wrap up the show. I mean, as I kind of already told you off the air. I've been doing some play-by-play. I'm doing some play-by-play for WSU radio, which is literally right next door to WRED TV.
Very cool.
I've done I've called my first live play-by-play basketball game, and coming soon I will get to do my first live play-by-play baseball game with the St. John's baseball team. And I remember you telling me you had some play-by-play experience when you were in college. I mean, what's your advice as far as for anybody trying to like get some play-by-play reps?
In terms of baseball, stock up on your stories for sure because I'm no Vince Scully, I'm no Bob Uecker, may they both rest in peace. But yeah, stock up on the stories for sure because baseball is definitely one of those games you're going to need it. Not so much this day in the pitch clock eras where the pace of play era, but at the same time, keep the viewers entertained between pitches. That's the best thing I can offer in terms of a baseball setting. Called a few baseball games, called more softball games over at Marist, go Red Foxes. Called the Holt Mac tournament one year. That was really fun. But yeah, definitely stock up. Definitely stock up on your stories. Be prepared. Again, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but I'm sure you're gonna do. What do you listen to me for? You're gonna do great. You're entertaining. Things are gonna work out. And St. John's trusts you with this, so I think that's a fantastic sign in of itself. You're gonna do great. What the heck you listen to me for?
Yeah, we're gonna cut the nets and go.
Do it.
And you mentioned something about doing play-by-play for basketball too. I mean, for future, and I'm asking this because for future basketball games, do play-by-play during my time here.
No, yeah, God, you're taking me back. But yeah, basketball's in the morning. Again, nothing I can offer besides the obvious. I mean, keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye away from the ball. Describe everything. You're on the radio, of course.
Yeah, description stuff.
Again, not reinventing the wheel here, but I was more of a color guy in basketball. I was the I guess you could say I was the Walt Clyde Frazier of Marist.
Ain't mad at that.
I'm never gonna be Walt. No, I'm never gonna be Clyde. I'm never gonna be Clyde. But
at least you got to write. At least you get to write about it.
Yes, I do. But yeah. That's what I can offer there. It's been a long time, but don't reinvent the wheel. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be all right. All right. That concludes this episode, Nothing But the Sports. I think we'll start by Geoff Magliocchetti, and I'm glad we got to make it happen even when I'm at a different location.
No, it's a great location. You guys are doing some fantastic work over there. But yeah, it's great to see you kind of took the show on the road a little bit. But keep up the great work. We'd love to do this again. And don't worry about it all. It's going to be great. Appreciate your time and insight, Rafik.
Yeah. For Geoff Magliocchetti, Rafik Luhi, we will see you next time.